Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to solve radical equations and show you how to do that. Now the first step is to get one of the radicals on its own side. So I am going to subtract 2 radical x plus 6 over to the side that has the 5. Now you can't actually subtract those two things, but you can rewrite it. So radical 2x plus 5 is still over here, equals 5 minus 2 radical x plus 6. So that's step 1. Now step 2 is to square both sides. If they were cube roots, you would cube both sides, but they're not, so we'll go squared, squared. Now this part is going to be foiling. Don't forget about that. But on this side, the square root and the squared just cancel. So on that side, I'm left with 2x plus 5. But on the other side, let's show the work for foiling. So I would be doing 5 minus 2 rad x plus 6 times another 5 minus 2 rad x plus 6. So I'll do 5 times 5, 5 times negative 2 rad, so that's going to be negative 10 radical x plus 6. Then I'll do that times that. That's another negative 10 radical x plus 6. And then I'll do that times that. That's a negative times a negative, so it gives me a positive 4 because of the 2 times 2. And then because it is rad x plus 6 times rad x plus 6, that just becomes x plus 6 because the radicals go away. So plus x plus 6. Or not plus, sorry. It's 4 times. The 4 is just in front of the x plus 6, like that. So now I can combine like terms. So I'll get 25 minus 20 rad x plus 6. And I can distribute the 4. So plus 4x plus 24. And I still have a couple terms now that I could combine, the 25 and the 24. So I'll have 49 minus 20 rad x plus 6 plus 4x. That's what I have on the right-hand side of the equals, so I'll recopy that over here. 49 minus 20 rad x plus 6 plus 4x. Alright, now I kind of repeat the process because now I still have a radical. I'll just highlight it right there. It needs to be alone, and I need to square both sides of the equation again. So I will move stuff away from it. I'll do minus 49 on both sides. That'll get rid of that. And I'll do minus 4x on both sides. That'll get rid of that. And the negative 20 is okay to stay in front of the radical. It can be alone except for maybe a coefficient in front. So I'll have negative 20 rad x plus 6 over there. And when I combine like terms here, I'll have negative 2x minus 44 on that side. And actually, how about if we do this tricky little maneuver? Let's divide both sides by negative 1. That way we don't have to worry about any negatives. It'll change into 2x plus 44 equals 20 rad x plus 6. But now we're on the step where we would square both sides. The right side is the easier part. 20 squared is 400, and radical x plus 6 squared gets rid of the radical. So that becomes that. The 2x plus 44 squared is foiling, so I will do that over here. 2x plus 44 times 2x plus 44. So this is that matches up with the part that I highlighted with green over there. So when I FOIL, I'll get 4x squared plus 88x plus another 88x plus 44 times 44, which is 1936. You can just use your calculator. So I can combine these like terms right here. So I'll get 4x squared plus 176x plus 1936. So this part right here that I got by foiling goes back over on this side of the equation. And I have that. Okay, now I need to work on this equation. Let's move this to a new sheet of paper here. Okay, so let's start cleaning up this equation. 4x squared plus 176x plus 1936. Distribute the 400. Okay, now this is looking very quadratic, so let's bring everything to the same side. So I'll subtract 400x, and I'll subtract 2400. So that on that side I just have 0. So I will have 4x squared minus 224x minus 464. I did that in my calculator. All right, now we have a quadratic. I have a feeling that all of this could be divided by 4, so let's factor a 4 out of everything. That will make it x squared minus 56x minus 116. That part I did do in my head. All right, now we either have to use the quadratic formula or we have to factor this. It does factor, even though the numbers are kind of large. X and x, we need to multiply to negative 116 and add up to negative 56 at the same time. Well, I just know that the two numbers that would do that would be negative 58 and 2, because they multiply up to negative 116 and they add up to negative 56. So I'm going to have x minus 58 and x plus 2. And then when I set each of these equal to 0, I get my solutions. X equals 58 and x equals negative 2. Now the one final thing with this, you need to check both of these back into the original equation, because I'm trying to write too fast. Need to check into original equation, because one or both, or maybe none, are extraneous solutions. So let me recopy the original equation onto this page, which it was radical 2x plus 5 plus radical 2 times radical x plus 6 equals 5. Okay, so let's just see if our answers work. So positive 58. If I plug that in, and you know, you don't have to write this down on paper when you do it. You could just plug it into a calculator and see if it works out. But I'm just going to show you the work. We're wondering if that really does equal 5. So we know this radical, when you do the multiplying and everything, it's 121. This one is 64. So this is 11 plus 2 times 8, which is 16. Whoa, that's not looking good. Okay, so this adds up to 27, which does not equal 5. So 58, go back over here and just like cross it off. All right, now let's try the same thing by plugging in -2 and see what we get. Make that a little smaller. Okay, so I'll do the square root of 2 times -2 plus 5 plus 2 times the square root of -2 plus 6, and we'll see if that equals 5. So this ends up being square root of 1, 2 times the square root of 4. Does that equal 5? This is looking better. So this will be 1 plus 2 times 2. And it does. 5 does equal 5. So that means, if we go back to our solutions, that the only answer, and I'll write it nice and big right here, is x equals -2. The x equals 58 is extra. It's extraneous, they call it, and it doesn't really work. It's because in a couple of steps we squared both sides of the equation, and so that makes extra numbers appear that appear as solutions that really aren't solutions to the original. But that's it. If you just check your answers at the end, you'll discover if there's one that doesn't belong and circle the one that does belong.